Everyone, appreciate the opportunity to meet with you this afternoon. Sorry I couldn't be there in person, but day job and family things, they kind of dictate every now and then, but through the magic of technology, you can't see me today, so I'm broadcasting from our corporate office in Marietta, Georgia, and you'll be able to see this program we'll talk about today. Start off, give you a little bit of background about myself. You're probably curious why you have a safety director talking to you about technology and construction. Well, kind of had an interesting journey in my career. So been involved in construction over 10 years. It actually is a second career choice for me, but I came into it as a site safety coordinator, worked my way up through the food chain to a safety manager level, and within a couple of years I started taking on other responsibilities such as quality control, warranty management, becoming more of a risk manager, looking out for lots of different types of loss in our organization. The whole time I've participated with the Agency of Georgia and their safety committee, and that's been a great experience to learn from other professionals and try and find new ways to improve our company and share information back and forth. And it was actually one of those meetings about 3 years ago that I saw another committee member using an iPad to take notes. So I asked him what app he was using, and he told me. I went home that night and grabbed my iPad, and I started doing keyword searches for construction, for quality, for safety, and trying to figure out how we could use this technology in our business to improve things. So one thing led to another, and I ended up finding some apps that worked. We had a test project that was a public housing project. It involved 6 buildings with 3 superintendents. Long story short, they were trying to renovate 10 to 20 kitchenettes a day in an occupied building where we had to move somebody out, tear out their kitchen, put it back in, and move them back in. So we found an app that would let us create a punch list that we could complete. The property manager would sign and agree that the work was done, that it was satisfactory, that nobody got hurt. So it should be good. Hold on one second, let me make sure of something else. All right, hold on a second. Let me keep adjusting the screen, make sure I've got it as big as I can. How about now? Does that look better? There we go. Sorry about that. So our program got better. We started learning more and more things, and it was about that time that I was speaking with Allison at AGC, and she heard what we were doing with iPads and asked me if I would be interested in telling anybody else about it. You know, would I explain to members how I use an iPad? So we put together the first AGC app for that session a couple of years ago, had 25, 30 people come to the office, and we did a lunch and learn. People sat there while I talked for about an hour and a half and said, have you seen how you can do safety? And I showed them my auditor. Talked about, did you know you could put plans on an iPad? And we looked at Plan Grid. Talked about how do you do progress photos, and we looked at Photo In. And it seemed to be a pretty successful movement. Everybody enjoyed coming, and we kind of set up another one, and then another one. And it's now kind of become a tradition. Every 3 months we have a tech forum. We show lots of different apps and workflows and talk about things. So they asked me to become the chairman for the local technology committee and bring it back. Well, I was happy to do that. We're really growing this program, and as Mr. Dunham was talking, it's been nationally recognized now. The actual AGC IT Forum Steering Committee is coming here to see what we're doing, and hopefully we can spread that to other chapters. And all this, again, is in the spirit of continuous improvement, how to improve our program, our project, our business, and our trades businesses that we work with. So kind of came up with this topic here. Somebody called himself a construction technologist, and that sounded good to me. You know, what does it really mean? It's talking about somebody that knows construction technology, knows construction, and knows how to use it and work with it. And then the last little thing, after about a year of doing these tech forums, people encouraged me to start a blog site, share the information, to talk about apps that I'm using. And that is the Construction App Guru site, and I'll show you that address later on as some of my social media. It's a way every week I just talk about workflows, apps, things to improve your business, and you can check it out. So to give you a little bit more context, how do I know what I'm talking about? As a safety director, what am I looking at? Well, our company, we do about 55, 60 million a year. We are a general contractor. We do lots of different type of work, commercial, civil, transit, rehabilitation. The slide you're looking at is 3 projects we completed over about an 8-year period downtown Atlanta. So we build lots of different things. So as a safety director, that kind of gives me lots of different challenges to look out for. And for quality control, that does a lot of different things. So I was trying to figure out how to use this technology to improve our systems and make things better going forward. And it really has helped our business tremendously, and we've tried to help our trade partners in turn. So let's just ask the question, why do you use apps? Well, look at this slide. This is one of our recently completed projects. This was the actual job site trailer for the superintendent. You can see on the shelf he's got MSDS books, safety books, project manuals. He's got drawings over here on the right, drawings on the left. He has a lot of information here he has to keep up with at all times. And how do you keep that much information in your brain? How would you can't really walk around a job site and carry all of the stuff that you're seeing. So we wanted a different way. We wanted to get better where the project superintendents could stay on the job in real time, complete things, access things, get to them. Well, how do you do that? You go to a tablet. And for us, that's been the iPad. So everything you see over on the left side in that picture, I'm telling you, is accessible on the superintendent's iPad. His plans, his photos, his email, safety, MSDS sheets, all the stuff he needs to have access to as he's walking the job site, he now has in his hand and can access it and look at it. This has been a very big game changer for us in our productivity and our quality control and our safety. So what can apps do? I've shown this before, but I always like to kind of start here. If you think about traditional workflows in construction, you've got the main office, you've got your server, you've got your hub. People are at their workstation tethered right to it, or they may be at a remote site, but they're on a VPN. Somehow you're on a terminal server, you're on a laptop, a desktop, and you're working back to the server on the mainframe, keeping things there in real time. And for a lot of workflows, that's fine. Building schedules, doing accounting, cost control measures. But for the guys in the field, you got to cut that tether somehow. You need to be on the project. But how can you be on the project in real time and work on things? Well, Steve Jobs came up with the revolution. It's the apps. Use mobile device with specific applications or apps as you want to refer to them, and you can be on a project in real time working on things. People want to say, well, tablet, that's not as powerful as a computer. What's that going to do on a project? So I'm here to challenge and tell you that tablets are every bit as powerful as computers these days. They're doing a lot of amazing things. Our stock iPad currently is an iPad Air 2, 64 gigabyte. Now, you can put a lot of information on it. It will process a lot of information. We have 5 main workflows that we're working on, and they work well for us. There's even other new devices coming out. You can talk about the Windows Surface Pro 3. Our BIM manager actually is beta testing one of those units currently. He has Bluebeam running on it. He has Revit running on it. I couldn't believe it when he brought me in there and showed me him running a full BIM model through Surface Pro 3. We've got a few other things that we're playing with on there that are very interesting. That is a hybrid device to take a look at for sure. So let's talk about these workflows. What are things that we were looking to improve? What were we trying to get better at in our company? I told you the first one right here, punch list sign off. We wanted to punch buildings faster, prove to the client that things were done satisfactory, everything was good, no damage, no issues, and we found an app, and it was actually a free app that allowed us to do that. That saved a lot of time. That was getting us paid a lot faster than it was before. We wanted to save time with the superintendents. Instead of them having to walk back and forth, go into a trailer to reference project documents, the plans, the specs, they've got it right in their hands now. They can look at it at any time on the job. Second one, safety items. We were having trouble with guys turning in safety meetings on a timely manner, and there were things were getting lost because it was all paper-based. Well, now we come up with an app. They do it on the app. They convert it to a PDF, send it to me. My performance metrics nearly tripled. It was amazing how much faster I could get things because we made it easy and they could send it to us. Then our progress photos. We, like a lot of companies, were taking pictures, but it was hard to figure out how you take pictures off a digital camera, download them to a desktop or a laptop, get them to the server, put them in the right place, but more importantly, what do you do in 2 or 3 years to find them if you need them? And so we found a great solution called Photo and Mobile that lets us do exactly that. We take photos in real time and it moves them to our server. before I get too deep, let's just back up for a second and talk about what are apps. Apps is, it's short for application, so it's a type of software. But when you go on to any of the stores, there's three basic types. It's either free, you didn't pay for it, it's a free app, you can use it. And it's going to do a lot more for you than a lot of paper would. It'll move your program forward. Then you've got paid. Obviously, you paid for it, and it's $3.99, $5.99, $8.99. But while I'm saying that, that's $3.99. That's $5.99. It's not $599, not $999. Think the way software used to be priced. It was thousands of dollars and enterprise agreements and all this legacy crazy stuff you had to deal with. Well, apps come and go. They change all the time. They're nimble. It's a different beast. They're a lot easier, in my opinion, to deal with. Or you have what we call freemium. So it's a free app you can download, but to use the service, you have to pay a monthly or an annual subscription. We are using three of those scenarios currently between our plan app, which is PlanGrid, our photos, which is PhotoIn, and our accounting, which is Viewpoint. We're still using a combination, a few free, a few paid, some freemium, but it's the program that we've built that works really well for us. There is a fourth option to kind of talk about that's becoming more popular, and that is building your own app. And that's got, two sides of it. You can either hire an independent contractor or bring somebody into your company and they write code and do that. Or there's some online platforms. You can talk about QuickBase or Catapult. These are online websites where you would create an account, you would make apps and give user login to your staff, and they can log in that way. Now, all of these together, it's one of two flavors. The way I refer to them is you have either a point solution or you have an integrated solution. And so by point solution, what I mean is it's a kind of a one-stop app. It does one thing singular. It doesn't talk to anybody else, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Let's say you just want to have an app to make a photo, add text to a photo. Well, what if you want to just document a safety meeting? It's better than paper. It's better than what you're doing before, and it's getting you in a digital realm to move forward. Where we're really trying to work is find integrated solutions. And by integrated, at a base level, what I'm talking about is cloud. Is the app connected to a cloud where the data that you've mined in the app, you can get out of there to your server faster? Or what if you could have a direct integration where apps talk to each other? So last year I worked on a couple experiments. I called it the App Alchemy Revolution. And we were able to use two apps connected with a cloud. So I was using PhotoIn Mobile to take pictures. And we would use one account, a cloud account, Box, to move it to our server. And then that's where they rested. But why couldn't I use PhotoIn over on a plan app or use PhotoIn on a daily report? So I worked with a few companies, and we ended up coming up with an interesting scenario where I had pictures on PhotoIn, but I put them now in Ignite, which is another cloud-based server really looking to get into construction, and smart use. So I would take a picture in PhotoIn, move it to the cloud, goes to Ignite, and then from smart use I could see Ignite and pull that file down and mark up a plan with that photo I took in another app. That was App Alchemy, and we're still working on some of these experiments. The higher level is when the companies actually work directly together. So you have direct API where their coding guys are talking to each other. They've opened up security protocols and they work in real time. The example I have for you now is Assemble. Assemble Systems is an online BIM storage platform where you can manipulate and see a BIM model. And then Kahua. Kahua is an online workflow platform for doing things such as a punch list. So these two companies are fully integrated, and we're doing a beta test now where we have the BIM model in Assemble, and we're punching a building, a little $6 million building in real time with their scenario. Now, let that just kind of soak in for you. I just told you we built a BIM model for a $6 million wood structure. People kind of thought we're crazy. Why would you do that? Well, it's still at the core of what BIM does. We're looking for clash detection in the hallways for the MEPs. We want to know everything's laid out properly in real time. We want to know before the guys hit the ground that things fit properly. So Assemble's helped us really kind of move our BIM program forward. But then Kahua is giving us some unique workflows tied to that BIM model. And that's App Alchemy at its highest level. So stay tuned. I've got some more updates coming out about these experiments and just ways that you can create your own enterprise level software. So how do you get here? This is what I'm recommending, and these are the steps that we have taken. When I first started our program, it was kind of the Rob show. It was my apps, my program, my iPads, all that. But I needed the other employees to take ownership. I needed for it to grow. So what you really want to try and do first is set up a technology committee. You want to find several like-minded individuals that are open to it, or maybe find some that aren't and get them to help. But you want to get these guys together, this team, and then pick your hardware. Are you Apple, iOS, Windows? Pick your apps. Get a core set of initial apps and try them out. So the next step is you pick a small test group for a project. You still will do your original workflows, but you need to do the new workflows on the side to see how much better they are or how much worse. How much time can you save, or maybe not. Track that out. Next one, you want to set your employees up with their accounts. In our case, that's iTunes, but you can do Google Play, you can do Windows. The iTunes does offer you an advantage that they have a corporate plan called the Volume Purchase Program, where you can buy bulk apps and distribute them to your team, or you can pull them back if somebody leaves. It's a kind of a unique system. The other thing you want to do is set up a way to back up that device and track it. Either you need mobile device management, some kind of hardware solution. One beautiful thing about Apple is iCloud. So last year we recovered 3 iPads that were lost or stolen from our projects because I had iCloud set up on them before they went out of the office. One was stolen from a job. We recovered it within 3 hours from the thief at his house. The other 2 fell off the back of trucks because they weren't put in the cab. Guy forgot about it, drove off, called me freaking out, wanting to try and find his iPad. Called me up, I logged in the account. Within about 20 minutes, I was able to guide them down the road and find their account. But that's because I put those on before they left. I've heard a lot of horror stories from companies buying devices, putting them out in the field without any control, and then losing them or they're becoming damaged. You can't do much after it's out the gate. You need to set this up properly before you hand these devices out. So 90-day trial. That's what I recommend to set up a beta test. Give it 90 days. That's basically 3 months. Within that time, you'll know if this works or doesn't work, and you can move on to something else. Once you set everything up, you got your program, your devices, you know what you're going to do with your apps, you need to bring all the employees in and train them. Our initial training scenario was a 2-hour meeting at an annual event. Every month I still do ongoing training to bring our team members back up to speed on new apps, new solutions, new ways of using things. And then the last bit is what I'm doing today. You need to encourage other companies to use mobile devices, use apps. We work with a lot of our trade partners and try and show them our program and encourage them to build one, at least to explain how to work in our environment. And that can work both ways. GCs can work with trade partners can work with GCs, with owners, with architects. Anything that you're hearing today that sounds good, please show it to somebody else, and so we can push our industry forward. So workflows, these are the 5 workflows I generally talk about, and these are the core of our program. First one is safety documentation, how to do a toolbox talk or an inspection. Progress photos, number 2. Viewing our plans and distributing the plans is number 3. Then daily reports is number 4. Number 5, I used to have listed in here as accounting, but that almost seems redundant to tell people you got to learn how to pay your people better digitally. So right now I'm really focused on BIM and BIM models. How do you get those models out into the field, into the guys' hands that need them building the projects? And there's a lot of interesting scenarios out there. So big purple elephant in the room you need to talk about. Money. How much does this cost? How much can you save? Well, that's a slippery slope, and it's hard for me to give you a straight answer. I'll tell you candidly, our initial program, hardware was around $25,000 to buy iPads and iPhones. We spent about $10,000 in software. So, we're looking at, let's say, a $35,000 outlay for an investment in the future. What did we get back? It's hard for me to give you a number on that, and this is why. We're tracking these things. How much time it goes back and forth to his trailer. How long does the superintendent spend in the trailer versus in the field? How long does it take to document safety items? Taking these photos and sending them. Documenting employee time. All of these tasks take time for your staff to do, but who's really tracking right now how long it takes to do that? There's lots of different things to think about that each of your guys do every day. They're doing daily reports, they're taking photos, they're walking back and forth, they're completing these things. So again, this is one thing I'm really trying to drill on. These are labor tasks. You're paying somebody to do them. Pretty good rate, but how long does it take them to do it? How much better could you get? So a few more things to throw in here. OSHA fines. What if you don't have the right documentation because you can't find it? Sharing plans and not printing them. There's paper cost. There's fuel cost. There's time savings for virtual meetings. There's so much ROI here. I could go on and on with slides of ways to save money. Each company, you just got to figure out what's best for you. So this is a generally accepted formula for return on investment calculations. You do your total savings divided by your total investment cost. Well, I know this very easily. I know how much we've put into our program. When I'm having trouble, it's right here. It's savings. How do you find the savings? Because what we're talking about is, let's say if I want to brag, I saved $100,000 on a $50,000 investment, it's 2-to-1 ratio. And you can convert it to a percentage. But the problem is the savings. How do you know right now, do you know what your guys work on, how long it takes every day? And cumulative for the company. Because we don't. I'm still tracking these numbers to know how long does it take to do progress photos and walk a floor? How long does it take to enter employee time for 20 people? If you don't have a baseline of what you are doing now, how do you measure what you're doing going forward and compare it? So you need to start tracking times on lots of tasks and see how much time are you really spending on any of these workflows. And I mean paper-based or digital, so you can kind of figure out going forward what you're looking for. I'll give you an example. This is one I've used for about a year now. One of our first projects we were trying out with Photo In, we had a renovation project that had 8 floors, 19 units, and I went and I took 6 pictures in every one of these 19 units. Well, that process took me 94 minutes to take them, drive back to my office, transfer them to the main computer, the server, organize and tag them. I went back the next day. I used Photo In on my iPad. I did everything in 54 minutes. I cut out the drive time. I cut out the transfer to the server. I was able to take them, tag, and sync, done. And still, you know, a year and a half later, I can find those photos whenever I need them. So that was a 40-minute reduction in a task for one floor. Basically a 5-hour savings per wing. And if we're estimating our foreman labor time, it's $181 in savings on labor to take care of a task we wanted accomplished. But more importantly, I've got lifetime photographic protection. All those photos are still on my server, and I can find them within seconds or minutes if I need to. A couple things to wrap up with. What's the future of technology look like? Drones. I've been playing with a drone for about a year. I know several other AGC members really exploring the option with drones. They can help you do safety inspections, warranty inspections, aerial photography. There's going to be a lot of new things coming up as soon as the FAA figures out how they're going to handle it. Wearables. You see things like a Fitbit now. That's a wearable. You know, the iWatch about to come out. That's a wearable. It's something that a human being's wearing and can leverage technology. Some of the interesting things that I'm seeing coming out are safety vests that can tell an employee if they're too hot, so they need to seek shelter to cool down. There's a Georgia Tech group trying to create a safety vest and a Bluetooth network for roadside work where if somebody drives a vehicle and enters that work zone at a high rate of speed, the employee will be alerted by the vest to look around and know that there is an oncoming object and get out of the way. BIM, we have really gotten fully involved in our BIM experiment. We have a full-time BIM manager. We're trying to figure out how to use it on projects where we see value. And it's becoming a bigger and bigger issue in the industry. Laser scanners. Being able to go into renovated spaces, old spaces that you don't have a good as-built, but you can now run a scanner and get millions of points of data and figure out exactly where walls and floor elevations are. It's there. You can do these things. So just to throw out a little bit more, Mr. Dunham talked about this event coming up. Next AGC Tech Forum is going to be January 29th, 11:30 a.m. The new venue for this one is the Atlanta Tech Village, and this is an exciting startup place in Atlanta. They have incubators there for startups from 1 person to 10 persons. We've got 4 particular apps that we curated and we're going to show to the members that are pretty cool local options that are here from Georgia. We have members that are going to talk about laser scanners. We've got one member who's going to talk about Oculus Rift. That is the headgear you wear for augmented reality to check out a BIM model. And I've got a couple surprises. You'll just have to be there that day to see. So if you don't have information, contact Allison. She's my liaison for the tech committee. We have information up on the website now. You can attend in person. We highly encourage that because there's a lot of good networking. You can meet developers. You can talk to other GCs, other trade partners. But if you can't, we will broadcast this through the internet, and there's an option to sign up there as well. We would love more the merrier to join us online and check out what we're doing, so maybe you want to come in the future. Last thing I'll leave you with, I did start a blog page about a year ago. I'm a little bit proud of it. It's had 18,000 views in just over a year. I put a new blog post up every week about an app or a workflow, something that can improve your business without a doubt, and it's geared specifically for construction. I'm also on social media, so if you're on Twitter or Facebook, look me up at ConApp Guru. Basically what I put through the blog, I'll throw on social media. Also, just some interesting things I pick up throughout the day and the week. Or there's videos of my old presentations on my YouTube channel, so check it out. Or if you just want to give me a call or send an email, there's my contact info. Take a picture of the screen. I'm always here to try and help out, answer questions for anybody that's looking to improve their program.